In the heart of a quiet suburban neighborhood, life typically flows in a predictable rhythm. Neighbors greet each other with friendly waves, children play in the streets, and the sound of lawn mowers fills the air on weekends. Among these familiar faces is Karen, a woman who embraces her role as a self-appointed neighborhood watchdog. With her cheerful disposition and keen interest in local happenings, she has cultivated an image of being helpful and attentive. However, beneath this friendly exterior lies a penchant for crossing boundaries, a fact that some residents have quietly acknowledged but few have openly discussed. As deliveries become increasingly common in our online shopping culture, package theft has emerged as an unwelcome concern. Stories of stolen parcels circulate like urban legends, creating an atmosphere of caution among neighbors. My own experiences with package deliveries have made me particularly sensitive to this issue. I've invested in a door cam to keep an eye on my porch, hoping to deter any would-be thieves while also capturing those fleeting moments of suburban life. Despite the occasional unease about my belongings, I've always wanted to believe that my neighbors had each other's backs. After all, we are part of community. Little did I know that this trust would soon be put to the test in an unexpected and shocking way. The day my Amazon package arrived would change everything, revealing not just fragility of neighborly bonds, but also a hidden side of Karen that I had never anticipated. The day my Amazon package was set to arrive felt like a mini holiday. I had ordered a highly anticipated gadget that promised to make my life easier and more enjoyable. As the delivery window approached, I could hardly contain my excitement, envisioning how I would unbox it and put to use. The tracking information showed it was out for delivery, and I made sure to plan my day around its arrival, eager to catch the moment it landed on my doorstep. Finally, the familiar sound of the delivery truck echoed down the street. I watched from my window as the driver placed the package carefully on my porch before driving away. A wave of anticipation washed over me as I imagined opening it later that evening. But when I finally stepped outside to retrieve it, my heart sank. The space where my package had been was empty, completely bare. I stood there in disbelief, scanning the area for any sign of it. Surely, I thought, it must have been misplaced or accidentally taken by a neighbor who didn't realize it wasn't theirs. But deep down, a nagging feeling crept in, suggesting something more nefarious at play. With each moment that passed, my frustration mounted. How could this happen in our seemingly tight-knit community? The thought of someone stealing from me felt like a betrayal, especially coming from someone like Karen, who always seemed so friendly and trustworthy. Little did I know, this incident was just the beginning of a much larger story unfolding right before my eyes. As I stood on my porch, the realization that my package was missing hit me like a cold wave. I retraced my steps, hoping to find it hidden behind a plant or perhaps accidentally knocked over. But after searching every nook and cranny of my front yard, I was met with nothing but disappointment. The absence of my much-anticipated delivery felt like a personal affront. It wasn't just about the package. It was about trust, safety, and the unsettling thought that someone had taken something that didn't belong to them. With a sinking feeling in my stomach, I rushed back inside to check my email for any updates from Amazon. Maybe there was an error, I thought, but the tracking information confirmed what I feared. The package had been delivered and was indeed marked as delivered just minutes before I stepped outside. My heart raced as I considered the implications. Who would take something that clearly belonged to me? Frustration quickly morphed into anger as I imagined a neighbor casually strolling by and deciding they could simply help themselves. I couldn't shake the feeling of violation. It felt wrong to suspect Karen, but her friendly demeanor suddenly felt like a facade. My instincts told me to investigate further, so I headed straight for the door cam footage. If anyone had been nearby when my package was delivered, perhaps there would be evidence that could provide some answers, or at least some closure. Little did I know, what I was about to uncover would change everything. With determination, I settled in front of my computer, ready to review the door cam footage. The anticipation was palpable as I fast-forwarded to the mundane moments of the day. Birds chirping, a passing mail carrier, and the occasional neighborhood dog wandering by. Each second felt like an eternity as I searched for any sign of my missing package. Finally, the moment arrived. I saw the delivery truck pull up and the driver step out, placing the box carefully on my porch. My heart raced with excitement, knowing my package was indeed there just moments ago. But then came the moment of truth. A figure approached from the corner of the screen. It was Karen. I could hardly believe my eyes as I watched her casually stroll up to my porch, glancing around as if ensuring no one was watching. In one swift motion, she reached down and picked up the package, tucking it under her arm with a nonchalant air before walking away with it as if it were perfectly normal. The shock hit me like a ton of bricks. I felt a mixture of disbelief and betrayal wash over me. How could someone I considered a neighbor and friend do something so brazen? As I replayed that segment of footage over and over, my perspective shifted completely. The door cam had not only captured a theft, but it also unveiled a hidden side of Karen that I had never imagined existed. Armed with this evidence, I realized I needed to confront her. But how could I approach this delicate situation without escalating tensions in our community? As I sat in front of the screen, my heart raced with each replay of the footage, desperate to process what I was witnessing. The moment the package was delivered played out in real time, and there it was, my precious gadget, sitting innocently on the porch. But the subsequent scene was what left me speechless. Karen's casual stroll up to my door felt surreal, as if I were watching a scene from a movie instead of real life. I scrutinized every detail of her actions. She looked around, ensuring no one was paying attention, before effortlessly lifting the package as if it were hers. My mind swirled with questions. Did she think I wouldn't notice? Was this a one-time lapse in judgment, or had she done this before? The evidence was undeniable, and yet I found myself grappling with a mix of anger and disbelief. After watching the footage several times, I felt a knot tighten in my stomach. The betrayal stung deeply, not just because of the stolen package, but because it came from someone I had trusted. Karen had always been friendly, sharing gossip over the fence and lending a hand during neighborhood cleanups. This revelation shattered that illusion. I knew I had to confront her, but how could I broach such a sensitive topic? Would she deny it? Would our relationship be irreparably damaged? The thought of confronting her filled me with dread. Yet there was no way to ignore the truth that had come to light through my door cam. With a deep breath, I steeled myself for what lay ahead. The day of the confrontation arrived, and I felt a whirlwind of emotions, nervousness, anger, and a lingering sense of betrayal. I had rehearsed my words a dozen times, tried to strike the right balance between assertiveness and calmness. After all, this was not just about retrieving my stolen package. It was about addressing a breach of trust that felt deeply personal. I decided to approach Karen at her house, hoping to catch her at home. As I walked up her driveway, I could see her tending to her garden, the bright colors contrasting sharply with the heaviness in my heart. Taking a deep breath, I called out to her. She looked up and smiled, that familiar friendly smile that now felt so hollow in light of what I knew. "Hey, Karen," I began, my voice steady despite the tension. "Can we talk for a minute?" Her expression shifted slightly, curiosity mixed with a hint of apprehension as she wiped her hands on her apron and walked over. I took a moment before I plunged into the uncomfortable truth. "I found something on my door cam footage that concerned me," I said cautiously. "It showed you taking my Amazon package after it was delivered." Her initial surprise quickly morphed into defensive denial. "Oh, that? I thought it was left out for anyone," she exclaimed, but I could see the glimmer of guilt in her eyes. As we exchanged words, it became clear this wasn't just about the package. It was about our neighborhood dynamic and the trust we had both taken for granted. After my confrontation with Karen, the atmosphere in our neighborhood shifted. Word of the incident spread quickly, as small communities often do, and soon neighbors were sharing their thoughts and opinions on the matter. Some were shocked, unable to reconcile the image of the friendly neighbor they'd known with the idea of her stealing from someone in our community. Others expressed their frustrations about the rising issue of package theft, a problem that seemed to be creeping into our once peaceful lives. I found myself at the center of conversations at local gatherings, where people offer their support and share their own experiences with theft or suspicious behavior. It was both comforting and unsettling to realize that I wasn't alone in my concerns. Many residents had encountered similar issues, even if they hadn't been as blatant as mine. Neighbors began discussing ways to enhance neighborhood security, like forming a watch group or encouraging everyone to install door cams. The sense of camaraderie grew stronger as people rallied around the idea of looking out for one another. However, there were also murmurs of discontent regarding Karen's actions. Some felt betrayed by her, especially those who had trusted her with their personal affairs. It sparked a larger conversation about trust and accountability within our community. The incident served as a wake-up call. It was a reminder that while we may live closely together, true community spirit requires vigilance and integrity from everyone involved. As I navigated this new landscape of neighborly relations, I realized that rebuilding trust would take time, and it all started with open dialogue and willingness to address uncomfortable truths. In the days following my confrontation with Karen, the tension in the neighborhood lingered, but so did a sense of resolution. After our discussion, Karen reached out to me, apologizing for her actions. She admitted that she had made a poor decision driven by impulse and a misguided belief that the package had been left for anyone. I could hear genuine remorse in her voice, and though it was difficult to fully forgive her, I appreciated her willingness to take responsibility. Karen offered to return the package, which I gladly accepted, relieved to have my much-anticipated gadget back in my hands. However, the incident left its mark on our interactions. While we resumed casual greetings, the underlying trust was fractured. I found myself more cautious around her, unsure if I could ever view her in the same light again. The community's response also evolved. Many neighbors expressed their gratitude for bringing attention to the issue of package theft. Conversations shifted from gossip about Karen to discussions about implementing neighborhood watch programs and sharing tips on securing deliveries. A community meeting was organized where residents could voice their concerns and brainstorm solutions together. Over time, I noticed a change in the atmosphere of our neighborhood. People became more vigilant, looking out for each other and sharing information about suspicious activities. This experience, while painful, ultimately strengthened our community bonds and served as a reminder of the importance of trust and accountability among neighbors. Though things would never be quite the same with Karen, I hope we could learn from this situation and work toward rebuilding what had been lost. Reflecting on the entire experience, I realized that there were several valuable lessons to be learned. First and foremost, trust is a fragile commodity, especially within a close-knit community. It can take years to build, but can be shattered in an instant. The incident with Karen reminded me that even those we consider friends can sometimes act in ways that betray our expectations. It reinforced the need for vigilance, not just in protecting our belongings, but also in understanding the complexities of human behavior. Another crucial lesson was the importance of communication. Confronting Karen about her actions was uncomfortable, but ultimately opened a dialogue that needed to happen. Addressing issues directly, rather than allowing resentment to fester, can lead to resolution and growth, both personally and within the community. I learned that while it's easy to avoid difficult conversations, facing them head-on often yields more positive outcomes. Additionally, the experience highlighted the role of technology in modern life. My door cam not only provided evidence of the theft, but also transformed how I viewed security. It served as a reminder that taking proactive measures can help deter wrongdoing and protect our homes. Sharing this perspective with neighbors encouraged many of them to consider additional security options. Lastly, the incident underscored the value of community support. Through shared experiences and collective problem-solving, we managed to turn a negative situation into an opportunity for growth and unity. While it was disheartening to face betrayal, the lessons learned from this ordeal made me appreciate the strength and resilience of our neighborhood even more. As we move forward, I hope we could cultivate an environment where trust was rebuilt and reinforced by open communication and mutual respect. As I look back on the whirlwind of events that unfolded, it's clear that the experience with Karen was more than just about a stolen package. It was a profound lesson in trust, community, and personal growth. The initial shock of discovering my package missing quickly evolved into a confrontation that challenged not only my perceptions of my neighbor, but also my understanding of community dynamics. Through it all, I learned how crucial open communication is in maintaining relationships, even when faced with uncomfortable truths. Confronting Karen about her actions was a pivotal moment that allowed both of us to reflect on our choices and the impact they have on those around us. While our relationship will never be quite the same, I appreciate her willingness to acknowledge her mistake and apologize for it. The aftermath of this incident fostered a renewed sense of vigilance within our neighborhood. We came together to address package theft and reinforce the importance of looking out for one another. It reminded me that communities thrive when neighbors support each other, share their experiences, and work collaboratively to create safer environments. Ultimately, this experience taught me that while trust may be fragile, it can also be rebuilt through understanding, accountability, and collective effort. As we move forward, I carry these lessons with me, hopeful for a future where we can foster stronger bonds within our community. In an age where connections can sometimes feel superficial, it's essential to nurture relationships built on respect and integrity, a reality I am now more committed to than ever.